Finally, it is back to business for both sides of politics. The Prime Minister this week unveiling his new look ministry and Labor locking in its new leadership team and who will be on the shadow front bench. But the blame game continues. Former leader Bill Shorten unleashing on who he thinks is responsible for Labor's crushing election loss.
Powerful vested interests campaigned against us through sections of the media itself, and they got what they wanted.
New Labor leader Anthony Albanese joins us now, along with newly installed Trade Minister Simon Birmingham. Fellas, good morning to you.
Good morning.
G'day, Deb.
Albo, what is going on here? Bill Shorten pointing the finger at everyone else but himself. Why can't he take responsibility for his own mistakes?
Well, look, I've said very clearly, Deb, that Labor accepts the outcome of the election result.
But Bill Shorten clearly doesn't.
Well, those of us who were in positions in the Labor Party have to accept the outcome and have to accept that we made some strategic errors. We listened to the verdict of the people. The people always get it right. There's no point complaining about what happened on the field. When you look at the scoreboard at the end of the day, we were defeated by about 77 to 68 will be the final score.
So what did you think, though, when you heard Bill Shorten saying that yesterday?
Well, look, there's no doubt that vested interest did play a role, but we also have to accept our responsibility that some of the policies that we put forward clearly didn't connect with enough people, and people didn't feel they had the capacity to put their faith in us. We have to do better next time. It's as simple as that.
And you better watch your back too, because reports this morning that Bill Shorten has told allies he wants to return as Labor leader. You were there for the Rudd-Gillard-Rudd years. How can you lead effectively, Albo, with the ghost of leaders past haunting you like this? Look,
we will be a united team. I've been elected unanimously by the Labor Party to lead. We had a leadership team, we have gender balance, we have talent, a mix of new people coming in.
So
Richard
will you
Miles
sit Bill
as my
Shorten
deputy.
down then and tell him to toe the line?
Well, I don't need to do that. Bill Shorten knows, as every member of the team does, their responsibility to work for the team.
Doesn't sound like it.
Well, we'll bring you in here, Burmo, because Bill Shorten, we know, has wanted to be PM all his life. The Liberals, of course, bear the most recent scars from former leaders causing trouble. Is it wise to keep Bill Shorten on Labor's front bench?
Well, I don't think it is when Bill Shorten is showing that he's as delusional as he appears to be. I mean, he might forgive a bit of bitterness, but he doesn't seem to understand or have heard any of the messages that Albo's been giving or anybody else in that regard. He doesn't accept, it seems, that there were policy failures at the heart of why the Labor Party lost the election, that the Australian people heard there was a real choice, a choice between higher taxes from Labor or lower taxes from Scott Morrison and the Liberal National team, and they went for the lower taxes. They went for the stronger economy. And the Labor Party's first big test that Albo's going to face is whether he can, of course, keep the team together, but in practical terms will be where they choose to vote when it comes to the tax relief plan that we bring to the Parliament shortly. And if they vote against it, well, then clearly the likes of Bill Shorten will win, because they'll still be running the agenda of class warfare and so on. So if they vote with us to actually support that tax relief plan, well, then maybe there'll be a sign that Albo's winning the day and they're learning some lessons.
So do you concede then that it was a mistake to let Tony Abbott hang around for as long as he did?
Look, I think there were certainly disruptions the last few years, and that yes, you can see things are smoother, perhaps when you don't have some of those former leaders there who attract a greater degree of attention. Now, we have got a great team going forward. Scott Morrison this week in swearing in the new cabinet and ministry, very humble, very workmanlike. It's back to business for us, but it's back to business with a new team, a fresh team, the youthful leadership team we've got of Scott and Josh and Matthias and myself. Of course, also a fabulous new cabinet, record number of women sitting around the cabinet table. Linda Reynolds, our new Defence Minister, is off now to the Shangri-La dialogue, talking to defence leaders from around the region.
Okay.
This is what we want to see, this type of focus and drive and work effort, and that's what Scott's given as a message to all of us.
Now, Albo, you singled out Christina Keneally and told your own party that you wanted her on the front bench. Two other well-respected and very capable members of the Labor Party team stepped aside to make room for her. Why is Christina Keneally so crucial for you?
I'll tell you what's crucial, Deb, the fact that our leadership team is 2 men and 2 women. their leadership team that Burmo just spoke about, there's 4 men and 0 women.
Merit's pretty important too, though, isn't it?
Women represent... Well, Christina Keneally has talent. So does Penny Wong.
So
they are
so
there.
our Foreign Minister, Maurice Payne.
They
so is our
are,
Defence
they
Minister,
are
Linda
there on
Reynolds.
merit.
So is our Social Services
but they
Minister,
don't have
Anne
any
Ruston.
women in their leadership team of the Liberal Party. None. Women make up 50% of the population. I want a team that is representative of the population. It's that simple.
Well, Ed Husick is a talented individual. He's now had to stand aside. But Christina Keneally, when you look at her track record, she led Labor to the worst defeat of a sitting government in New South Wales history. She lost the Bennelong by-election. Is that track record really that strong?
I think Penny Wong and Christina Keneally will make a very strong team that will make Burmo's life in the Senate very difficult indeed. They're both tough, they're committed, they're principled, they're very effective, and they're very articulate. And what they will do is hold the government to account in the Senate. That is very important.
All right.
I got to say, I back some of the women in our Senate team, our Foreign Minister Maurice Payne, our Defence Minister Linda Reynolds, our New Social Services Minister Anne Ruston, our Jobs Minister Michaelia Cash. It's a pretty powerful lineup of senior cabinet ministers.
That's a good thing that there are women in the cabinet. That's a good thing. It's a pity that the Liberal Party still has no women in its leadership team.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Now,
and they've already broken a commitment. They could bring the Parliament back, Deb, in June to put through the first lot of tax cuts that are supposed to come into effect on July 1. That was what they said they would do during the election campaign, and they're not doing it.
Will you pass
It's giving you time to try to
cuts?
make a decision, Albo, as to whether you're going to vote for the whole package or not.
And will you, Albo, will you support it in full, the second and third tier as well?
We will vote for the tax cuts that come into play on July 1. What Simon's
so will you
asking
back it in full?
What Simon's asking for and what you've just asking about is tax cuts that come in not during this entire term but sometime after the next election. We'll give consideration to that and we'll make our announcement after we've given it proper consideration, after we've seen the legislation. We haven't even seen any legislation yet, Deb.
All right.
Yeah.
So not ruling it in, all right, we'll wait and see. But
what we won't be doing is giving blank cheques on the basis of legislation that doesn't exist.
The
Burmo,
details are all in the budget, Albo. This is not difficult legislation.
I wanted to ask you about the issue of religious freedom. We know that Barnaby Joyce is making his voice heard already on the backbench, another restive former leader. What do you think of his push for stronger religious freedom laws?
Well, we'll give effect to the recommendations of the Ruddock Review as we outlined in our government response, and that involved asking the Australian Law Reform Commission to do some work around preparing a bill that would protect religious freedoms in Australia, just the same as we protect other freedoms and provide for other forms of anti-discrimination in Australia. We want to make sure there's not unnecessary discrimination against people of faith.
How can you really police, though, and legislate on religious beliefs?
We're not legislating on what people believe, but we do want to legislate for the right for people to genuinely hold those beliefs and not be discriminated against because they hold those beliefs. Now, we've gone through quite a careful process, having the Ruddock Review, which took public submissions, went through a very careful bit of work there. And we've now asked, as I say, the Australian Law Reform Commission to take a look at the details of how you would structure such a religious freedoms bill and act, and we'll bring that then to the Parliament for proper scrutiny. I would hope this is an area that we can enjoy bipartisanship. Australia's a country where freedom of religion sits at its core, and we want to make sure that that, alongside all of the other rights and responsibilities that are already legislated, and of course the guarantees that we have, anti-discrimination laws in relation to people's sexuality, to people's age, to people's gender, they're important. We also have to make sure that people's faith is appropriately respected, and we'll do that, and I trust and hope that the Labor Party will work cooperatively with us to make sure that this is a unifying step for the nation that builds upon that existing anti-discrimination framework in a successful way. All
right, well, they're back into business. Albo and Burmo, we thank you both for your time this morning, and we wait and see what emerges from Canberra. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well,
thanks, guys.
Well, whatever emerges, it'll be chilly.
That we can guarantee, that is for sure. Good on you, fellas. Thanks again.
Cheers.